Do you hear me now?
I gotcha.
What's up?
Thank you,
What is
Stephen.
up?
We've wanted you on here for a long time. Thanks, man. I appreciate you joining us. Obviously, you just had a massive fight at the weekend. We'll get into all that stuff. But how was your day going? You look like you're still healing up from the weekend.
Yeah, man. Actually, I'm healing up pretty quickly, but I'm feeling great, man. And just glad to be on with you guys.
How many days did you take off before you started driving that bus and teaching again?
Man, I was back Monday, baby. I was back Monday, driving the buses, teaching classes, the whole ordeal, man. It was pretty cool because we had a lot of our karate parents and kids come to Orlando. It wasn't a crazy flight, to come join and support. So I thought it was pretty cool.
Oh, that's amazing, Stephen. It really is, and I mentioned this on commentary. There's going to be a big uptick. I mean, you are like single-handedly advertising the benefits of karate. Do you know what I mean? Because that was in some ways karate versus kung fu. Well, karate kicked the shit out of kung fu on last Saturday night. You see more subscribers, more people coming in the gym?
Oh, man, always, man. I mean, let me tell you, here recently, I don't think it's me that's bringing people in. It is Cobra Kai. I don't know if y'all have seen Cobra Kai yet, but it has brought so many. Man, I remember back in the 80s, obviously back in the 80s. It wasn't that long ago. But it was Karate Kid. Everybody wanted to do karate because Karate Kid. Now you got, obviously, Cobra Kai happening. We have a lot of parents that are starting up doing martial arts because of it. But we had a few people in startup this week because they saw the fight this past Saturday. So it's pretty cool, man, to see them come in because of me, So just trying to bring karate back, baby.
What do you what's that Monday like when you get back to the gym? Because I've been there before. So it's a beautiful facility. There's so many people in and out. Everyone's super respectful. Like, what is the atmosphere like when you show up, driving your fancy ass car, you get out, your face is all black and blue. And like, I mean, is it just this big celebration? Is it this family atmosphere? Is it just high fives everywhere? I bet that's got to be a fantastic feeling.
It is awesome, man. Let me tell you. I mean, I thought about not showing up because I didn't want my students, my kids, to see my face like this, And that was kind of the first thing that went through my head. Didn't want them to see my face, but there were so many people wanting to say hey, and a lot of people that were there that actually came to the fight, sacrificing their time, spending money to come and see me. So I wanted to come back to the gym just to say hey and thank them for coming out. But it was awesome, man. I mean, the win or a loss too. I mean, I'm back in the next day, and we're a big family here at Upstate. We've got, man, since we moved to our new facility, we're up to 830 students.
Wow.
And a lot of these are 3 generations. We got grandkids of parents and grandparents that have been through us. So, these kids have grown up here. So it's cool, man. It's really cool to be able to see what I get to inspire, these kids. It's unbelievable. So
I'm jealous in some ways, Stephen, because we're going to get to the fight in a second. We're going to go through all that stuff. But I imagine that, listen, winning a fight in the UFC, certainly a fight that you showed last week. I mean, that's one of the most exhilarating feelings in the world. But for me, it seems like you get such a kick out of coaching these children, seeing them advance through their life and mature from when they walk into probably being teenagers or whatever and getting their lives on track. I mean, you really seem that you love to give back like that. And as I say, I'm jealous because I don't do anything like that, but I want to get into coaching. But I mean, how much do you love that?
Man, it's unbelievable to see these kids that come in for whatever reason. It could be for, self-confidence. Maybe they're being bullied or maybe they want to lose some weight. But after that first few class, especially that first day, man, to see the smile that comes across this kid's face before they leave and the confidence that it gives them. I give it back because I know what the martial arts has done for me, not just as a martial artist, but just being a good human being, man. And that's what we want to give back. That's what the martial arts is all about. The kicking and punching is fun, but it's about the teaching the modesty, the courtesy, integrity, the self-control, perseverance, the indomitable spirit is what the martial arts is about. And we've got kids that have been training with us since they were 3 and now they're in their 20s, man. So just being a part of their lives is all worth it, man.
That's crazy. I was really curious about this as soon as the fight was over. What did your dad say about it? Like, what is his? Because he's such a cool guy, but he's so, at least in my experience with him, he's so to the point.
Yes.
So you had a tough first round, and it ended up being okay, you know, obviously by the end of the fight. But what was, I feel like, all right, cool, good job, but we got to fix this. You know,
Yes.
what was your guys' talk?
You hit it. You hit the nail right on the head, man. That's exactly what it was. It's like, you know, I get to the back, I get stitched up, and I finally got to say something to my dad, and it was, he smoked you in that first round, didn't he?
No.
Smoked you in that first round. Did he hurt you? And I'm like, no, it didn't really hurt me. My ears ring a little bit, but it didn't hurt me. He's like, well, we got to fix that. I've already set it up with your coaches. When we get back, we're going to watch the fight from start to finish and see what we can get better on. You know, when we're there, he's coach. When we're here in the facility, you know, he's coach. Outside of that, he's pops. You know, but first and foremost, when it comes to this, it's business, man. And that's why I love him in my corner. That's why I love him being there, because he doesn't pull his punches. He tells me the truth. He's a very honest guy. Some people think he's trying to be, you know, a smart ass but he's just a very, very to the point kind of guy. He doesn't sugarcoat anything. And that's what I love about him. So we're already made plans this weekend to get with the coaches and watch the fight and see what we can get better on.
See, that's beautiful. And again, I'm jealous of that. And we just had Tom Aspinall on, and he's got a similar thing. He's got a similar relationship with his father, you know, and he was talking about, yeah, of course, there's people involved that, you know, want to do right by you, but they're also out there for themselves. You know, having your father there cares for you. He couldn't care less about the fame or the money or anything like that. He wants the best for you. And that's such a beautiful thing. But right, let's talk about this fight, Stephen. I said that was one of the best fights I've ever seen. It was
coming from you, that's freaking amazing,
Stephen, and I stand by that. It was unbelievable. Now, maybe it's because I was there, and I could not believe the speed, the power of your kicks, and like, as the fight was going on, you were just taking over. And I love Kevin, so I'm not trying to talk bad about Kevin. I'm a huge fan, and we talked about it at length on Monday. But from your perspective, take us through the fight, please, Stephen.
Man, well, you know, obviously with, you know, after the weight cut and everything, you know, we knew going into this fight that he was going to be tough. He did really well at 185. He's knocked some really tough opponents out, and he's got some power. He doesn't look it, but he's got some power in those hands. And I think it has to do with his height and his reach. He's just got amazing leverage on his punches. His range is really on point. So that was kind of the game plan going into this was, you know, to use my longest tools, obviously my kicks. I wanted to keep my right side forward, because if I throw my left hand, well, of course I work both sides. I'm actually right-handed, but I wanted to keep my right side forward, so that way my left hand, if we decided to throw it at the same time, my head's leaning away from his power hand whenever he threw his right. And he caught me in that first round. Actually, when I was in a close stance, I had my left foot in front. I didn't have the correct side forward that I wanted in that fight, and that's when he smoked me. But the plan was, leading up to the fight, to keep him on his heels. I didn't do very well of that in the first round. I kind of wanted to feel him out a little bit, which is something that I kind of do. I want to see if they made any changes since the last time I've seen him fight. And that's one of the things that we really work on doing, is seeing their very first fights up to their most recent fights to see if those guys make any changes. You get those guys, you've seen them fight once, you've seen them fight 100 times. They don't make any changes. But then you got guys like Kevin Holland who, they evolve after they fight, you know, after a fight. So they get better at certain things. So I think I did too much feeling out in that first round, ended up getting smoked. But after that, in my mindset, I was losing the fight because I did get hit, right? And he staggered me a little bit. So I knew I had to keep him on his heels. And that was the first thing that popped in my head, keep him on his heels, keep him on his heels. So I started to really pick the pace up and really be more aggressive in that fight, because that was in my head. So I think it was probably after the second round, I knew he had hurt his hand, because he threw less of his right hand. He started throwing more elbows. So I started to aim for his money, his bread and butter, which was his right hand. So I started kicking that hand as much as possible to slow him down. I didn't realize it was as damaged as I thought it was, but I just started aiming for it, and it paid off.
Oh, yeah. You know, did you expect to be, I don't know how to say this without sounding like an asshole,
Hit me with it, brother. Hit me with it.
Wonder Boy.
Do not insult the guest, Anthony.
You're
Rule
not
number
the
one.
youngest guy in the division. Not the youngest guy in the division. Did you expect to have as much of a speed advantage as you did? Because to be honest, I have the ultimate belief in you. I said on here, the show before the fight, that if Stephen is in a striking only affair, I can't. There's not very many fighters in the entire UFC that I would pick against him.
Thank you.
Definitely no welterweights. So I expected that you were going to win all the striking exchanges. I didn't expect for you to have such a significant speed advantage. Did you feel like that leading into it, or is that something you found out once you were in there?
No, I feel I'm faster than most, and I think that's just my body type. I think this is one of the reasons why so many people has used me as sparring partners. Not only that, but to simulate other fighters, is because of the speed advantage. I get this a lot whenever I spar with guys. They're like, "Man, everybody else seems so much slower after I spar you," and I feel like I'm the fastest guy in the welterweight division, and still getting better in that. And I think that's just the way, obviously, we train. We train smarter now. But I've always been an explosive and fast fighter. And I really felt like that this past fight, especially after that first few exchanges, in the way I closed the gap. I knew he was very long. He's got that 82, 83-inch reach. So the distance that I had to keep from him was a little bit longer than normal because of that reach. So which means I had to close that a little bit farther gap between me and him, which I wasn't – I wanted to really see how that was going into the fight. I had to figure that out when I was out there. I got all these sparring partners out here who have really long reach, but people use their reach and their distance management differently, and he certainly did. He seemed so much more longer than any of the guys that I sparred with to prepare for this fight. So it was kind of one of those things I had to adapt to and kind of feel out after that first round. But I did feel like I was a lot faster.
Yeah. How much of that is maybe physically you looked fantastic, and you just looked healthier, you looked faster. How much of maybe being explosive and having your speed, how much of that is tied to having maybe a more successful weight cut? It looked like you were just much leaner and healthier, and it seemed to translate to your movement, your power, your explosiveness. Was there a difference between that maybe the last couple fights?
Oh yeah. I mean, coming in, I really started to get a more serious when it came to this camp, especially when it came to my weight cut, making sure, of course, I had the UFC PI, which I had no idea they could prepare meals for you. And before that, I was just kind of winging it, So they prepared my meals throughout the week leading up to the fight. And I wanted to walk in a little bit leaner for this fight. Gaining weight back hasn't really been a huge bother of mine. Some people want to come back a lot heavier, but I just feel so much faster when I show up that Tuesday of the week of the fight being a lot lighter. The weight cut's a lot easier, and it was perfect, man. I mean, of course, it's always a struggle. It's never fun, but it was so much easier than my last two, especially with the Bilal fight. And I just felt faster, man. I felt really good leading up to that fight, and especially that week while I was there. The weight cut was on point. And I didn't struggle. I didn't really struggle at all to get down in weight. And I felt it. I felt so much faster. So it really does, especially with my age, the cutting of the weight, it's different now, and I really have to focus on it. And that's kind of like more important now than it was before, is make sure that weight's on point and that weight cut's a lot easier.
It's crazy because I was the same way, the last couple of years in my career when I'm pushing 40, I had it down. I had it nailed. And the weight cuts, of course, there's a lot of sacrifice. But if you follow the plan and you eat the right meals and you do the cardio, if you do it all, then the final week, they were the easiest. The last 5 or so were the easiest of my career. Right. Here's another one that I'm jealous of. I'm jealous of everything about Stephen Wonderboy Thompson right now. One of my favorite people on planet Earth is Jack Black. And you are besties with Jack Black. Do you know what I mean? That man is hilarious. I love his music. I just look at Jack Black and I crack my head. I just start laughing. And then I saw that video of you two and you were kicking and he was doing the kick. And then it progresses that he's going to walk you out. He was going to sing Wonder Man. And sadly, I think because of schedules, whatever, he couldn't do it. But talk to me about, how did this friendship with Jack Black come about?
Well, I've always been a fan of Jack Black, and I got to introduce you now. So,
Oh, please.
I mean, it's going to happen. I got to do it now. He's awesome, man. I've always been a huge fan of his, and obviously Tenacious D. My brother has been asking me to walk out to Tenacious D for the longest time, and ended up doing it, and it just became one of my trademarks. I think it was the Gilbert Burns fight. He had tuned into the fight, and as soon as I was walking out, he said he heard a familiar song, Wonderboy by him. And he was this Wonderboy kid, and he started watching. He went live, I think, on social media. And after that, I must have hit him up or something like that. But I was at International Fight Week, and there was a guy there that was filming for the UFC who also films for Jack Black, and he says, "Wonderboy, Jack Black wants to talk to you." I was like, "Are you kidding me?" So after the fight, I ended up FaceTiming him. We ended up hitting it off. He ends up bringing me and my brother Sweet Tea out to Wilmington, North Carolina, where he was on tour. So I got to walk out on stage while he sang Tenacious D, Wonderboy. I got to hang out with him before and after. And literally, he's the same guy you see in all of his movies. He is freaking hilarious. I didn't know he was 53 years old. Kyle Gass was there. He's 63, and they were jamming out. It was the coolest thing ever. So he wanted to walk me out. Obviously, the schedule, he was still on tour. Wasn't able to make it. But I got to chat with him afterwards, and hopefully we'll make it out, get him to walk me out my next fight. So that's the plan.
That is awesome. You should bring him to upstate.
I know that dude is. I mean, he's in the South a lot. So I told him, and we're in Simpsonville. He has a lot of tours around, and of course in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Charleston, South Carolina, which is super close by. We're going to get him out here for sure.
Well, make sure you invite us out.
I got you, Anthony. By the way, I owe you. By the way, I owe you from your last camp. I told you I was going to be out there and help you out, and I wasn't able to. The schedule was crazy, but I got you, my brother. You need me at any time, I'm there, brother.
My man.
So we've got to say, Stephen, what's next? Because you are still one of the best strikers, the fastest. You had a great performance. You're a fan favorite. We all know the last two fights, they didn't go your way. The Jeff Neal fight, when you had that Jeff Neal fight, I called it. And again, I was blown away. I could not believe what I was watching. I'm such a fan of your style. And I'm not just saying that because you're on. And I thought, no one on planet Earth is beating this guy, Well, of course, styles make fights. Yes. What is next? And what do you think of the division right now?
Especially the welterweight division, there's a slew of high-level wrestlers, good MMA fighters, very well-rounded fighters. Of course, the gold is always at the top of the list. But getting better, getting back to the books. And I ended up breaking my hand, left hand. So I ended up breaking the first and second bones in the hand. So they gave me 6 months suspension. But in that time, it's a prime time to keep working on my wrestling and jiu-jitsu. May have to have a hard cast on, but we'll see. Hopefully I don't want to wear a cast. But getting better every day with my wrestling and jiu-jitsu. And my last 2 fights, I learned more out of those 2 fights than I did my last one, actually, because, the Gilbert Burns and Bilal took that blueprint that Gilbert had, just to hold me down. And it kind of stinks knowing that people want to win fights that way, but it's the way to win, and they can move up the rankings that way. It makes sense. So I've got to get better at that and still improving on it every day. So now's the time within that, that time that I will have off because of the injuries, that is the time where I should be working on that, and still am. I don't have anybody in the books yet. I want to make sure that my hand's nice and healed up before then. But, there are people who are talking about, especially after the commentary or the fight, in the interviews, they mentioned Connor. They mentioned George Masvidal again. I know he's always game. Of course, Michelle Pajeda, the flipping maniac in the division. But I know I'll be facing wrestlers as well. So I know I got to get better and continue getting better at that. I came in the game fairly late. I was 28, knowing nothing, having zero groundwork, to be honest with you. And I'm blessed to be where I'm at, man. I'm getting better every day. So hopefully we'll find out here pretty soon what the whole timeline is going to be with my hand. And you'll see me back out there hopefully sooner than later.
We were supposed to go 1 each, but I'm going to break the rule and jump in because I want to piggyback. I want to piggyback. Does seeing Leon Edwards, who, is a guy kind of have a similar style to yourself, does seeing Leon Edwards knocking out Kamaru Usman inspire you massively? Huge.
I mean, to have a guy who's known for his striking and being one of the best strikers in the division, taking the guy who hasn't been taken down in the first round and controlling him in the first round. Not only that, but being up above elevation, that involved his takedown defense, his will to win, his indomitable spirit, getting taken down, getting back up, and then knocking him out in the 5th round. That inspires me every day, man. I think about that all the time. And I know if he can do it, I can do it. You know, I've been trying to fight him for the longest time. And of course, it's been a long time coming for him to get that shot. I'm glad he got it. And just want to let him know that, yeah, man, he's a huge inspiration of mine. And one of the reasons why not only do I need to show just my striking, but I want to be able to show my wrestling a little bit out there, especially at this level. I can't just rely on my striking at this point, especially when I have a slew of wrestlers ahead of me. I got to show my jiu-jitsu. I've got to show my wrestling. I think it was my 3rd fight in the UFC. Somebody in the UFC came to me and was like, look, Stephen, I out-wrestled my opponent. And he was like, look, excellent fight. Proud of you. But remember, it wasn't your wrestling that got you here. So I was like, all right, I'm picking up what you're putting down. So I'm only focused on my striking. I mean, I worked on my wrestling, but all you saw was that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got to show more than just that from now on. And that's kind of my goal after this fight, is to kind of, you know, is to show that, is to be more of a well-rounded fighter.
So are you, I guess my question, are you looking to advance in the division next, or are you looking to have a fun fight where you can still grow in the background?
You know, to be honest, that's a good question.
Yeah, it's a good question, Anthony.
That's a good one. I mean, I don't expect me to move up after beating Kevin Holland. He wasn't ranked in the division. I know he was a big name, and he's been crushing people. But you know, the gold, like I said, the gold is always there at the top of my list. Mm-hmm. That's what keeps me going. It's not just getting the gold, but obviously bettering myself. And if there is another fight, I know the fans want to see me fight another striker. The UFC does. If that's what it takes for me to keep moving forward and get better at my wrestling, so be it. But, you know, I take on all newcomers, man. Whoever wants it can get it. And I'm still moving forward, baby.
Hey, you never know. If Leon defends against Kamaru, I mean, that could be a match made in heaven. You know what I'm saying? Come on.
In heaven. Let's go.
We'll let you leave. I've got a twofold question, then we'll let you get about your day. And thank you again for your time. Christmas, round the corner.
Yes.
I want to know what's on the plate. What is a traditional Christmas dinner in your house? And also, you know, I'm always trying to go on vacation and whatnot. And I said to my wife, this is a beautiful country, the United States of America. And I just go to places where I work. In your part of the world, your part of the country, give me somewhere as an Englishman trying to discover some of the charms of your neck of the woods. Where have I got to go?
In South Carolina, one place and one place only that you have to check out. Beautiful. The town is amazing. It's growing every day. It's unbelievable. And talk about solid soul food. You got to get you some soul food now. Charleston, South Carolina.
Charleston.
Right. I'm telling you, if you ever talk with Weidman, he will tell you his favorite places in the world is Charleston, South Carolina.
Amazing.
He's a South Carolinian now. He's a few minutes, not too far from me, about an hour away. He's in Fort Mill, South Carolina, but one of his favorite spots and my favorite spots, Charleston, South Carolina.
All right.
Beautiful.
It's on the list.
Right on the beach.
Ooh.
It's right on the beach. You would love it. Hey, Anthony, have you been there?
Yeah. I've been there.
To Charleston?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Beautiful place, man. You would love it. Gotta have it. And okay, so when it comes to Christmas din, it is mashed potatoes and gravy, mac and cheese. We got the salted ham or turkey, whatever. You got the green bean casserole and the sweet potato. Have you had sweet potato casserole?
I've had sweet potato, but you guys put marshmallows in it.
Man, okay.
What is that? Come on.
Dude, it's almost like a dessert with a
dessert.
Nice crusted top. Oh my gosh.
Woo.
Man, I'm telling you, get your mouth watering. My mouth is watering right now.
I'm starving. I'm intermittent fasting. I haven't eaten a thing yet, and I can't wait to devour it. But all right, I guess on that note, we'll say goodbye. Stephen, thank you so much. Anthony, I know he's a friend of yours. I'll let you say cheerio.
Yeah, man. I hope to see you soon. I got a fight booked, so I think I'm gonna need some Stephen Thompson advice.
I got you, my friend. You let me know when and where, and I'll be there, brother.
Perfect, man.
All right, Stephen,
it's a
take
pleasure,
care.
my friend. Thank you, guys. You guys enjoy, and Merry Christmas.
Indeed, Merry Christmas. Take care.